January 11, 1936. Madison Avenue Presbyterian Church, New York City. 25 guests. A white satin wedding dress, a long train, white orchids, and a bride who had crossed the Atlantic only 6 years earlier with about $50 in her pocket. The popular story says she was a poor Scottish fisherman's daughter who came to America, met a millionaire builder, and lived the American dream. But look at the paperwork. In May 1930, aboard the RMS Transylvania, 18-year-old Marianne McLeod arrived in New York. Her occupation was listed as one word: domestic. She had come to work. She had come to stay. And she had already decided that America was going to be her permanent home. 6 years later, she married Fred Trump. And for the next 63 years, she lived inside one of America's most consequential real estate families. But the fascinating part of her story isn't simply that she married Fred Trump. It's what she became after she did. Because Marianne Trump was never just the woman standing beside the man who built the family fortune. She became part of the machinery that preserved it. From the Isle of Lewis to Queens, Marianne McLeod was born on May 10, 1912, in Tong, on the Isle of Lewis in Scotland. She was the youngest of 10 children. Her father, Malcolm, worked as a crofter and fisherman and also served as a school attendance officer. The family spoke Gaelic. English was something Marianne learned rather than inherited, and her childhood took place in a community deeply shaped by the First World War. In 1919, the naval yacht HMS Islair ran onto rocks near the entrance to Stornoway Harbor. More than 200 servicemen died. The Western Isles had lost a devastating proportion of their young men during the war. For girls growing up on Lewis, the future could be brutally narrow. Marry, work, or leave. Marianne chose to leave. But there is an important detail that gets lost in the mythology. She wasn't simply a barefoot peasant girl escaping poverty. Her father had steady employment and social standing. Marianne left with a visa, family connections in New York, and roughly $50. She also had something else: ambition. As a teenager, Marianne began corresponding with a Scottish girl named Agnes. Their friendship began after Agnes won a newspaper painting competition. The two girls became pen pals. Their letters continued for years. And eventually, Marianne would sail to America while Agnes went to Germany on a university scholarship. Those letters are extraordinary because they preserve something almost completely absent from the later Trump family mythology: Marianne's own voice. The girl who arrived to work. In February 1930, Marianne received her immigration visa in Glasgow. She sailed for New York in May. She arrived one day after her 18th birthday. On the passenger manifest, her occupation was domestic. She intended to remain permanently and become an American citizen. She went to Queens to live with her older sister. And for roughly 5 years, she worked in domestic service. There are stories claiming she worked for extremely wealthy New York families, possibly even in the Carnegie household. Those details aren't firmly established. But the important part is, she worked in other people's homes. She saw how wealthy households operated. She learned how servants, wives, children, money, and social status interacted. And then, sometime in the mid-1930s, at a gathering in Queens, she met a young builder named Fred Trump. Fred was already ambitious. He had entered the construction business as a teenager after his father died during the 1918 influenza pandemic. Because Fred was initially too young to sign contracts, the family business was incorporated under his mother's name, E. Trump and Son. The son did the building. The mother held the legal pen. That arrangement would become important.